Hi, can you tell us who you are, your name?
Thank you. I am Master Ntakky, a visual artist from Uganda, East Africa, Africa. I come from Kabale. Some people call it Kabale, which is in the western part of Tigezi, Uganda, where my story began.
Okay. So, Master Ntakky, can you take us back to the time when you knew you loved art and what was that moment?
I recall I was 3 years old, or thereabouts, when my mother took me along as she went to work. Father had since passed on, so it was a mama that was young, too young for her to leave me at home. So she carried me along and left me at the neighbor's while she worked the night through. And this neighbor happened to be an artist. His name was Absalom Sembabazi. His studio was full of portraits of Kenyan women, I remember, with a lot of beads, paintings with cows and horns. And later I got to know that that work belonged to the late Katali Kawe, who was a famous Chiga artist who lived his life in Kenya until he passed on, RIP. Yeah, so from that day, I remember he, in my faded memory, he gave me a piece of paper and a pencil to keep me quiet and engaged. That was the beginning of it all. And from that time, I loved art. I remember in primary, characters from the movies we used to watch, like Jackie Chan, and kids would surround me to look at, and as I would tell them stories from the movies, and then they would share in their break. So I started earning as far back as primary, from art, and that also blessed me, and I became famous. Was as the artist on the block. I used to draw for girls in secondary. So art was very rewarding, and so all that birthed the interest up until later.
So, Master Ntakky, as we look at your art pieces, how would you describe your style of art today?
My work has evolved. In the Ugandan economy, it's first about survival. So I did a lot of commissioned work, a lot of it with projects like you said, and so forth. And so it was, they give you work, you do it. It wasn't very original, but my work was authentic. I was more of a realist. Yeah, but then I got to a place where I decided to go contemporary and so abstract. But because of the realism background, I decided that my work would be both realistic and abstract. Mainly abstract because of the contemporary era, but I wouldn't forget my roots of realism. So in some of the work, or most of the work, you will see a lot of abstract work telling intimate stories, but also you will see a hyper-realistic object in there intertwined, and which is a beautiful form that not many are doing now. And so I believe that it is a beautiful thing people will see. Yeah.
Okay, so Master Ntakky, you talk about your arts, being abstract.
Yeah.
And so, what kind of emotions or reactions are you trying to evoke from the audiences that look at your art piece?
I hope and desire that my work will lend timelessness to things, to stories, timelessness, to spaces, timelessness. I want 1,000 years from now, my art to still be relevant and fresh. And so I tell stories etched in stone. I tell stories of long ago, stories of today, and stories of tomorrow. And so through my work, I desire that people will relive their memories, and through my work, people will realize their dreams. Yeah, so it is that approach, and I lend timelessness to the work through the use of black, of white, and of gold. Gold for authenticity, for originality. I believe that in all of us, in all our stories, there is gold, which we have to discover. And so, so I combine those to give it that vintage feel of timeless.
So, Master Ntakky, can you take us through your creative process, a piece from idea to this actual creation and your style?
So this was actually one of the first pieces that I did. So in the night, and this is crazy, and many creatives do so. You get a dream, you get an inspiration, and then it just forces you out of bed. You either sketch or you journal. Wow. You know you are creative. Wow. And you know that process. So for me, I sketch. So I get the inspiration that I believe from God. Okay. So I meditate, I jog, and I've done all that sketched, and I'm sure this is how it's gonna look on the canvas. I said now that the inspiration came from God, let it also begin with God on canvas. Okay. So I get paint, usually either white or black, and I splash it across the canvas. Yeah? And Through that, I follow the strokes as I sketch away. The composition is usually informed by where the splashes have fallen. So which inspiration usually begins from a random splash, which is what I say, God strokes. So my inspiration begins with God. And then stories of people, both based on memory and imagination. Those who want to relive their memories and those who want to realize their unlived dreams. So they tell me the stories and I reflect them in the work. So the style that I use to do that is one, splash, two, line work because I follow the lines, and then I try to combine very many isms, eras of art. You will see some pointillism in there. You will see African patterns because of my roots. My major pattern being this symbol. It's a spiral symbol of infinite light in faith, in hope, and in love. Because these stories are ultimately supposed to inspire us and give us hope. Yeah, so I use black lines, I use white backgrounds, and I use gold overlays and undertones to give it that awesomeness, authenticity, and timelessness. So that's the work, that's the style. You will be seeing more of it in limited edition.
So, Master Ntakky, being an artist at 3 years old and now being able to create abstract art, what have been some of your challenges as an artist, especially in Uganda?
I like not to tell challenges, but they are there. Uganda is a beautiful place. It's called the Pearl of Africa. You wake up in the middle of the night and you can find a Rolex. So yeah, we are living a good life. But then there is challenges, especially in the art world. The art world in Uganda is quite still undefined, and also not so much appreciated in terms of financial fulfillment. There is a lot of fulfillment in art because it's fulfilling because it's a gift. It's fulfilling because it's therapeutical. So I enjoy it. So I'm fulfilled. But the challenge is that it's not yet financially, very, very financially rewarding, especially in our economy. And so my desire now is to take it to the next level, And so I will be targeting bigger audiences like collectors, like museums, like galleries. And I'm quite sure that we are going to find a good place.
So, Master
In the
Ntakky,
grand scheme of things, I tell stories of resilience, of hope, mainly telling stories around cancer and mental health. Yeah, and I've seen some of my Bachiga, mostly friends and family, struggle with cancer, struggle with mental health. Personally, I lost my mother to cancer. So those are the stories we are telling, but from a place of hope. That after people have listened to these stories, they will see the fight, they will see the resilience, and then they will be hopeful in their own struggles that there may be.
We understand something exciting is happening down the road. Can you tell us a bit of what is happening next for you?
Wow. So bringing me to this place of contemporary arts, I am now looking to exhibit for the next long while. And my legacy is I want to be remembered as an artist. Yeah, I've done poetry, I've written books that have won awards, but I've zeroed in on this wonderful journey of art. And so this is the beginning of so many beautiful things. And to launch all this is what I would call a maiden. I've exhibited before, but this is like a grand, uh, groundbreaking solo exhibition that is taking place on the 1st of August.
Wow.
2025 at the Normal Gallery here in the heart of Kampala, Uganda. Now it's going to be very massive. We're going to tell awesome stories. People are going to experience the work. People are going to paint away, and the work that is going to be, people are going to reflect, and then they're going to be part of the experience by painting their reflections. And then we'll have that big canvas, and everyone will be painting away their reflections. And then that work will be auctioned, and the proceeds will go to charity. Yeah, so it's going to be amazing. It's a family show, so children are welcome. We're going to set up for up to maybe 100 children who are going to paint. We're going to invite for them legendary artists like Professor Chirineu, who are going to inspire them in the way of art. So bring your lovely children. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be an amazing evening of inspiration. We're going to be having performances, beautiful performances. We're going to be having great food and drinks. We're going to be having a great audience. So it's a rich evening where I will be launching myself into the art audience. Yes.
So, Master Ntakky, this solo exhibition, does it have a theme? Who exactly are you targeting? What should we expect at your first solo exhibition?
Wow. Back to culture. The title for this exhibition is Jean Kutebeze. Jean Kutebeze is, so I would say Jean Kuganire, which is come and I tell you a story. Or Jean Gambide, which is come and I tell you. And this is Jean Kutebeze, is come and I jazz you. This is why you met a friend at the water hole, or you met a friend from collecting firewood, or in the garden that you hadn't seen the whole day or since yesterday. And she said, hey, God just for you, Jean Kutebeze. And so these are stories of intimacy that we are telling around the fireplace, that we are telling around a pot of porridge, that we are telling around a food point. So Jean Kutebeze. And these are not just stories of arrival, but also sad they can be, happy they can be, but they are emotional, they are turning point stories.
Okay. All right. So, you haven't really told us who are you expecting to come for this event. I know we'll have
Yes.
children,
Oh, yeah.
But who else? Does anyone just come for the Master Ntakky solo exhibition?
So this is paid for experience,
Okay.
and anyone who can afford to come through will come through. Yeah. Mainly our first target, of course, will be art lovers who are art collectors and museums and galleries. And then we are also looking to engage with communities or organizations that are about mental health, because we are telling stories of mental health and cancer. So organizations that support such causes, charity, are part of the proceeds, like I said, are going to Grace Villa and Mwana Mujimu that we shall get from the auction of the day. Yeah, so charity organizations, cancer organizations, mental wellness and organizations. Yeah, so that is the audience. We are reaching out to embassies. We are reaching out to art lovers out there. We want to. It's a bit of a different show. Most of the other exhibitions will just target a little bit of, but for us, we want to inspire Ugandans. Everyone who is hearing this wonderful or watching this show. Reasons. One is that as a parent or as an adult, you will live never to be the same. One, you will interact with well-meaning, wonderful, a wealth of, an audience that is beautiful, but also you will experience art in a completely different way. We are taking you into a kingdom of art. You will walk through art. You will feel art. You will eat art. You will enjoy art in a way that I cannot describe now. You can only see it on that day. We are going to give you a fulfilling experience, great entertainment, great food, great drinks, great interaction. We're going to tell stories around a fireplace, stories, like you said, of cancer, mental health. We are going to have instrumentalists playing very powerful culture music.
A bit about the art space. Is this the future for Master Ntakky?
Uh,
And he's on his journey. We want to know what's next for you after this exhibition.
so this is a traveling experience. We are doing one show here in Kampala. The next one is going to be in Kigali, Nairobi. Then we'll go to Tanzania, launch Africa, and then go across the board. Um, Dubai, UK, US, Canada, India. So we have a program, and it's going to be a traveling experience, traveling exhibition. Yeah, and from that, I'll be launching myself into the art world. Then also, from the proceeds, there is charity. Part of the proceeds, like I said, are going to Grace Villa and Mwana Mujimu that we shall get from the auction of the day. Like I said, we are going to put up a wonderful art space. Ultimately, we are putting up a space, a wonderful creative art space for art mentorship, young children, young art lovers, upcoming artists, but also for therapy. So we are putting up that space for art mentorship and art therapy for the community, the wider community. Soon after, it's going to be in nature with rivers, with fruit trees, with tree houses, with caves, with water experiences, and then people will come and experience healing, experience expression in an art-based space. And if you told me where I would retire, that is where I will retire. I will retire to that place and to traveling for art and mentorship. Yeah.